All right, next up on the item, we have Representative Mueller to share with us House File 3650. If you could move to the testifying table. Again, we're going to try to keep it to about 20 minutes max per bill total, maybe a little bit more for Representative Mueller's because she has 4 testifiers. If Mr. Fanning wants to move also up to the table, and maybe Sarah Paul, we've got one online testifier as well. So I just want to make sure that we're sort of in place and moving things along here fairly efficiently. So with that, Representative Mueller, you are going to move your 3650 and go ahead and proceed. And I think we have a little amendment.
In MDE, and we had a request from Dolly to be included in that. So that
Okay.
is the A1 amendment.
Very good. Any members have any questions on the A1? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of adding A1 to 3650, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 3650 as amended is now in front of us. Members, go ahead and explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members, for indulging me in this cold that apparently will never end and will never go away. So this is my new voice. I'm like Phoebe Buffay from Friends. So thank you. Thank you for those of you who got that. All right. I'm really excited, Mr. Chair and members, to have in front of you House File 3650. And one of the reasons why I am is because this is something, as a teacher of almost 20 years, that has been so near and dear to my heart, to be able to look at education, to be able to see how we can get our students outside of the 4 walls of the classroom and be able to get them real life, relatable, rigorous experiences that will give them pathways forward, and something that's very personal, very relatable, and something that will be for their future. I wanted to start just a little bit about talking about how Colorado has already done this, and that they have actually created something called the Reimagining Futures of post-secondary talent system in Colorado, and that the Colorado initiative aims to close the gap by rethinking how education and workforce systems interact rather than treating them as separate domains with occasional intersections. This envisions it to integrate talent development systems. And we've heard a lot about that today, and I'm really excited about it. Mr. Chair, you did talk a little bit about soft skills, and those are actually more commonly known as durable skills now. And durable skills are something that we are able to really embed as we have workforce experiences. There is a study that was done by America Succeeds, and they talk about how these type of skill building work-based experiences, that they are able to really embed durable skills, as they have seen that a great percentage of our workforce actually asks them to have at least 4 of durable skills that are hard to measure. And so it's been really good to be able to see that. I have a lot of exciting things to be able to talk about. This bill intentionally asks these 4 agencies to collaborate together and to look at how we can remove barriers to create a statewide framework for student career pathways. This is a completely opt-in program for our schools. It's not an extra mandate, but it does ask these 4 agencies to work together, remove barriers, show how we can have an integrated system that will really move our students into a pathway system that allows them to have really relatable and rigorous experiences. This is just one piece of the puzzle. Senator Murrah and I have a bill that looked at high school redesign, because honestly, sometimes a barrier is simply high school schedule in itself. And so looking at how we can do that. So this is just one piece of the puzzle, and it's the first stop for this bill. So Mr. Chair, rather than than me drone on, I have some really amazing testifiers here that talk about the work that they're already doing and how this bill might be able to expand the work that they would like to do in the future. Thank you,
Great.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative, for that. And again, to the testifiers, if we can try to keep it around that 2-3 minute mark, we'll try to do our best to try to get out on time. Mr. Fanning, we've got you up first, if that's all right. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Or no, it doesn't matter who's up, right? If you're there, it doesn't matter. So
Here, Mr. Fanning. Okay.
we're all good. Thank you. But go ahead and introduce yourself and proceed.
Good morning, and thank you, Representative Mueller. Thank you, co-chairs. Thank you, committee members. I am John Fanning, Director of Education Partnerships Coalition of Minnesota, or EPC, speaking in support of House File 3650. EPC is a bipartisan coalition of 9 cradle-to-career partnerships across Minnesota. Our collective impact model engages more than 600 local partner organizations supporting more than 300,000 young Minnesotans and their families. EPC communities are in greater Minnesota as well as in metro and urban parts of our state. Our work is relentlessly bipartisan in communities both predominantly red and blue. To complement the testimony of my terrific peers over there earlier this morning, I want to talk about an important adjacent topic: significant international and national private investment for workforce and education initiatives that does not come to Minnesota. I'm talking about the Gates Foundation currently investing a whopping $53 million nationwide in the education to workforce space, with California just getting $9 million, far beyond their proportional share, but no investment here. I'm talking about a Walton Family Foundation joint venture just releasing their first round of grants in the education to workforce space, totaling $7.5 million to 5 states, including 3 of our Midwest neighbors, Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois, but no investment here. I am talking about Kentucky just winning a 5th Toyota plant with a $225 million price tag in a rural part of their state. Toyota has active plants in 9 states, none here. The Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky reports that they win these contracts because secondary is connected to post-secondary is connected to career in a way that these plants can come into less populated parts of their state and know that the jobs that they are bringing will be filled by the local and regional population. It is not that great work is not happening in Minnesota. It is, and you heard a lot about it this morning from P20, from ECMC, from Achieve Twin Cities. We also have the Greater Twin Cities United Way with their statewide Career Academies program. They're all doing incredible work in parts of Minnesota, both big and small, urban and rural, in red and blue. And we should be very proud of this work because this is really heavy lifting to connect high school students with great post-secondary opportunities that lead to high-quality, high-wage careers. And they are doing this heavy lifting without enabling legislation like House Bill 3650 to provide structure, to create opportunities, and to remove barriers. Legislation like this matters when national foundations and international corporations look for states in which to invest, and they are consistently passing us by. Because we all want Minnesota to be the best state in this nation in which to raise children, because we all want our state to be equitable and prosperous for all, we simply cannot leave this private investment on the table. Please support House Bill 3650. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fanning. I appreciate your testimony. If we have questions, we're going to save them to the end members as well. Superintendent Paul, if you would be willing to go on next then?
I think they're kind of tag teaming, Chair.
Oh, whatever, that's fine, that sounds good. You go ahead, just introduce yourself and proceed.
Chair Baker, members of the committee, my name is Tim McMillan, and I serve as the chair of the North Branch School Board, and I'm here today to support of House Bill 3560 or 3650. Superintendent Paul and I have been here before, and we've testified with Representative Mueller And you can probably get the sense that North Branch, if you've seen our name up on the screen this morning, is that we think outside the box and we lean into career readiness. So I'm just going to make one statement, and then I'm going to yield my time to Superintendent Paul, who's going to dive into more of the details. But as a local school board leader, one of our most important responsibilities is ensuring that every student graduates with a clear pathway to success. For some students, that pathway leads directly to a four-year university. For others, it may include technical training, apprenticeships, military service, or immediate entry into the workforce. House File 3650 recognizes that success is not one size fits all, and that our state must support multiple high-quality career pathways. And I think you'll hear Superintendent Paul talk about North Branch and how we're aligned in our community with some of our industry in town. And I think we just have a great opportunity to grow in that space. And we know that this alignment is going to help our kids. And that's why we get into this business. That's why we run for our local school districts. That's why we're board members. So thank you, Superintendent Paul.
Ms. Paul, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair McMillan,
Thank you.
and thank you, Chair and committee members. Again, my name is Sarah Paul. I've been serving as the superintendent of North Branch Area Public Schools for 6 years. And before that, I was serving as assistant superintendent in both Minneapolis Public Schools and then White Bear Lake Area Schools. Focusing on career pathways and looking at this big blur concept, if you've heard research from a few years back, we really need to make sure that we're thinking about what are those opportunities and experiences. I think the presentation earlier on the framework that was shared, that's the work. When you've been in this work, those phases are well articulated. I don't need to go into details on that. But each community is different, and there's different local context. In White Bear Lake, we were able to establish multiple career paths, connecting to local employers, making sure that we could take students through those phases, and finding those endpoints for employers to really feel that they could have that value add in a strategic, efficient way. Coming to North Branch, we have the state's largest shovel-ready industrial park in Minnesota, 250 acres. It has sat dormant for over 20 years. So when you're coming into a community and there's a reason why we have this great opportunity for industry and it's not happening. So within the first 2 years, I became part of the North Branch Economic Development Authority, and I'm currently the chair of that committee. Because it is so important to my work as a superintendent, and it's important for our community as a whole, that we figure this out. Just yesterday, I was presenting at DEED, and the Future Forward Fund. We have, right now we're on the cusp of having a $157 million investment from Louisiana Pacific that's coming to North Branch. It's going to take up approximately half of our industrial park. And they're coming because we are creating the win-win opportunities. They're going to bring 100 jobs. And if you look at what DEED represents as pay that is important for livable wage jobs, $23 in rural areas, $28 metro areas. Louisiana Pacific is looking at $32 an hour for manufacturing jobs that integrate different aspects of the manufacturing sector as well as supply chain logistics. These are huge opportunities for us. And it's evidence that there are pockets of alignment happening. And it's a huge opportunity for us in Minnesota. We are not just competing against each other in our different cities. We are competing against other national and international opportunities that incentivize and have clarity of what these connections look like for that employer to be incentivized to come here, and for K-12 to have those opportunities to create those connections that are so important to help students find their purpose in their education, graduating, but not only graduating, but graduating with a plan. In speaking to this opportunity, I fully support this framework, and I want to give one example of where you see the power of alignment happening. You heard earlier Aaron Larson speaking from the Department of Labor and Industry. We talked about that opportunity of registered teacher apprenticeships. Registered teacher apprenticeships is a model that has to be implemented with fidelity if you are going to get the outcomes that you're seeking. We needed that coordination to happen. With your support, we were able to, instead of working in separate silos, because local context matters, we need to protect the school board and local control on making informed decisions about what kind of jobs that we need in terms of our education priorities. Yet we created the conditions for us to partner together because we cannot do it by ourselves. So the Department of Labor and Industry is leading this work. They have clarity of that lead role in this work. Then you have the Minnesota Department of Education coming alongside in a support role. They're at the table. You have Pellsby that is working in coordination with school districts and higher education around what are the high need areas that we need to be strategic about making sure that these registered teacher apprenticeships are offering. And then I'm serving as the co-chair of the Minnesota Teachers Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. Go, 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 because we're partnering. There's 13 of us districts and half labor, half district leadership. We're doing the hard work of coming together and making sure that we have coordinated uniqueness and that we're bringing efficiency to a model that's being implemented with fidelity. Alignment, alignment, alignment. We need it. And I love the testimony earlier that when you see this happening through a framework, you're going to see Minnesota popping up as a leading candidate to attract these high-wage jobs that are going to help more people have the opportunity that I have in North Branch right now. I get to live and work in my community. I get to be connected with a lot of the things that make a community real. Over half of our residents commute over 30 minutes to get to their work. And we can do better, and it's going to come through alignment. It's going to come through working together. You heard presentations. We have all the pieces here. We just got to bring them together. So thank you for your time.
Oh, Superintendent Paul, I just want to say thank you for also stepping outside of sometimes your traditional role of getting super engaged in the community on economic development. That is my aha moment today. So thank you for doing that and your incredible engagement. Again, we want to keep this thing moving along a little bit. If we could have Mr. Hendrickson come forward, the teacher from Shakopee. And then we're going to also have Matt Schmidt online here right after that. And again, we want to keep this to about 2 minutes if we could, testifiers. And then we'll have to have a quick wrap up as well from Representative Mueller as well when we're done. So we're moving along. So welcome to the committee. Mr. Hendrickson, please proceed with your testimony.
Just for you.
He's setting his timer for you.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good morning. Chairs Baker and Pinto, members of the Workforce, Labor, and Economic Development Finance Committee. TJ Hendrickson, I've had the privilege of teaching at Shakopee schools for the last 34 years. I teach engineering, manufacturing, fabrication, apprenticeships, work-based learning. Basically, if it's related to career orientation, I teach it. I'm honored to represent the school district and the community that I get to serve. We designed in Shakopee, the academies of Shakopee, to ensure that every student graduates with a plan and the skills that they need to survive in an evolving workforce. By connecting academic learning with real-world applications, students gain relevant, hands-on experiences that build technical knowledge as long with essential workplace skills such as communication, collaboration, and problem-solving. Shakopee High School offers 6 different career-focused academies that support career exploration and skill development. Through these pathways, students participate in hands-on, career-connected learning experiences that help them explore interests, refine goals, and make informed decisions about their futures. The example I have is I had a group of students in 6th grade, came in, sat down, they were really frustrated one day. They had a friend who was deaf. They were getting frustrated because he would leave his notebook behind. How does he leave a note so they couldn't communicate? So they problem solved and decided with a gardening glove, flexible sensors, an Arduino board and a speaker, programmed it so that when he signed, it would actually talk to them. So projects like that allow students to apply engineering and problem solving skills to real world challenges that matter for their daily lives. It's more than a sequence of courses. They are a system of career-connected learning rooted in career and technical education and problem solving. Students work on authentic projects, collaborate with industry professionals and mentors, and develop the skills needed for post-secondary education, technical training, apprenticeships, and high-demand careers. This would not be allowed without strong community partnerships. We're grateful for the continued support of the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce, our industry partners who provide mentorships, site visits, internships, and all sorts of real-life project opportunities. one of our industry partners reached out to us and said, just letting you know, NASA's going to be calling you. What for? They want you to prototype for them. So we developed a program that actually has gotten international acclaim, where we are developing things to go to the International Space Station. These partnerships help the students understand career opportunities and the pathways needed to reach their goals, with also strengthening the connection between education and the workforce needs here in Minnesota. We can demonstrate that when it is possible, schools, businesses, and communities working together can support our students. Continued support for the career pathways, technical education, and problem-based learning ensures that students across Minnesota are prepared for both college and career success. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Hendrickson, thank you so much for your testimony as well, and for doing what you do in Shakopee. So thank you very, very much. Members online now, we have a principal from Austin High School, Mr. Matt Schmidt. If you want to unmute yourself, please. You'll come on our screen, and you can go ahead with your 2-minute testimony, Mr. Schmidt. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Baker and members of the committee. I want to thank you for the opportunity here today. My name is Matt Schmidt, principal of the high school in Austin, Minnesota. And I want to begin by having you think back to your 9th grade year in high school. You had the new shoes, the new backpack, perhaps the newest Trapper Keeper. And all you were worried about was getting your locker open and finding a seat during lunch. And then the teacher asked you, what do you want to do after high school? Did you have any idea what you wanted to do? And any idea of all of the careers that were possible at that time? I know that I didn't. I didn't understand all of the possibilities that were there. And to ask a 14-year-old to know that and to magically figure it out on their own is just not possible. And what's happening is our students are going to college and using that as the most expensive career exploration course they could possibly have. And sometimes it's just not the right fit for them. They might not need the 4-year college. And so what we are doing is we're focusing on, one, the transition between 8th and 9th grade as one of the most critical times for students. We know that if a student's off track for graduation after 9th grade, they're about 4 times less likely to graduate on time. And what we've built is a required year-long freshman seminar course. And in that freshman seminar course, they're developing soft skills, career exploration, they take interest surveys, they take the Clifton Strengths Finders, they hear from local business leaders, and they ask questions like, what kind of lifestyle do I want? Where do I want to live? What am I good at? And what do I enjoy? And then we help them build a 4-year plan during their freshman year that maps out their post-secondary education also. It's not about picking classes based on which friends you have or which classes are easy, but it's about purpose. And when a student walks into that algebra class or that biology class, they can ask the question, why I'm taking this? And that clarity changes engagement, it changes motivation. And we don't stop there with 9th grade. Under the umbrella of the Packer profile, we focus on 3 levels: career exploration, career or meaningful learning, and a portfolio. Students participate in mentorship, internships, job shadowing with local businesses. They attend career fairs, college fairs, and they build a 4-year portfolio documents growth, skills, and experiences. We partner directly with the community. Local businesses help us design hands-on opportunities so students graduate with real world experience, not just credits. And I'll give you an example of that. Our AF&R program, which is now the fastest growing department in Austin Public Schools. When it comes to hands-on out-of-school learning opportunities, they're leading the way. When they talk about farming, they go to John Deere and watch those tractors being built. When they're talking about ethanol, they go to an ethanol plant and they get their hands into it. And students before that didn't think of AF&R as a possible pathway are now going into it with eyes wide open. And over the past 3 years, after implementing our 9th grade seminar class, our credit attainment rate, that means students passing classes, have gone from 85% to 94% and continues to rise. That means more students are on track, more students are graduating on time, and more students are prepared for what comes next. And the reality is, it requires a lot of structure, a lot of coordination, requires staff time, business partnerships, and systems to monitor progress. And if no one is responsible for monitoring it, it doesn't get done. And so we've made that investment locally. We believe that it matters. We believe in the direction, and we have data to show that it works. Career exploration isn't just about steering students into a path. It's about exposing them to all the possibilities. It's about ensuring that when they leave high school, whether they choose a 4-year university, a 2-year program, a trade or military, or direct employment, they do so with clarity and purpose. And students understand the why. Achievement follows.
Mr.
I'd
Schmidt,
like
I
to
got
thank
to
you for
have
the
you wrap
time.
up, okay? Mr.
Yep,
Schmidt, thank you.
Thank you for the time. I'm open to any questions at the end.
Thank you very, very much for your testimony. Appreciate that very much. That concludes our testimony. Again, to member questions, if there are any, we are short on time. And the plan, Mr. Chair, is also to move it on to education finance. So the chairs there would like to kind of just see this bill as well. So the hope is that we can pass it out of committee to our education finance. So any member questions? Chair Pinto.
Mr. Chair, I actually have several. One thing just to note first is so grateful to the testifiers and to the bill author, because your passion for helping young people be on a good path is just comes through so clearly. And we all know that when that happens, then the rest of us benefit as well. So grateful to you. I do have some questions about this particular proposal, and maybe just one process question. So a fiscal note has been requested, Mr. Chair?
I believe, yes, it has.
There has been a fiscal note, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
There's been a fiscal note requested, has not been completed yet.
Understood.
I did want to say, though, that at this time, there's been conversations going on. There's partnerships with P20, with the conversation happening there. And ECMC has also talked about possibly looking at some grant dollars that they'd be able to use instead of using any general dollars at all.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representative Mueller. Yeah, because I certainly would expect the bill would come back for us to be able to assess from a financial perspective, and I want to keep things moving. I guess one thing I'm unclear a little bit though about is, given that we have P20, given other work, I'm just unclear about what this would add. I mean, it's definitely a major need to help young people have these connections. The bill, as I read it, ultimately is directing commissioners to sort of work together on this issue. I think, and maybe I'll ask this, have you worked with, because this is so dependent on these now 4 commissioners and 4 agencies, have you worked with the agencies at all in developing this, and how would this be different than what is already in existence?
Representative Mueller.
Thank you, Chair Baker. And I did not admittedly sit and talk with each and every commissioner with this.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that none of them came to testify against it, and so that's a kudos. But the thing that I will say is that we heard from multiple testifiers today that what is needed to move us out of siloed experiences is to have that systems approach. And the only way to do that is to actually ask each of the parts to talk together and to remove the barriers. As we've said, it doesn't have to be as complicated as creating anything that is this massive thing. It could be as simple as what Representative Hussein is talking about in creating a central data space. Maybe it's as simple as looking at, or as complicated as looking at high school, schedules. It's what are the barriers and how can we remove those barriers to actually make it so that Shakopee isn't a one-off, that North Branch isn't a one-off, that we have the accessibility for each of our schools. Almost every single state that has been highlighted has had this step happen, where they actually are asking these agencies to work together to remove the barriers to make it to be a statewide framework.
Chair Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That makes some sense. I guess I would certainly encourage, we'll certainly encourage the agencies to reach out to you, as you say, and certainly encourage you as well, since so much of it seems to be dependent on on them all working together. There's back to the finances for a second, there's the references on page 3 to commissioners using existing resources for at least one of the pieces. That always concerns me a bit, given that, we sort of give them a budget to do a certain thing, and if we ask them to do more stuff with the same amount of money, then that means they're not doing something else in theory. So a bit of concern there. I guess as long as, it makes sense to me this bill would continue to move forward, have other committees be looking at it. It would be important to me
that it come back to us from the financial perspective. It may well be that we have outside grants covering all of it, and then if they're just going to fund these commissioners working together in these ways, that generally seems, it seems great to me. But I guess so I'm not inclined to sort of get in the way of it at this point, but I would want to make sure that we do have a sort of final chance to review before we be moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very
Thank you,
Chair, Mr. Chair. Representative Mueller, sounds reasonable to me. If we get it moving in today, we can make sure we check on it as it goes further. So any further member questions? Seeing none, final comments on the bill quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair and members. I'm excited to be able to continue to work on this, and I'm excited to see the collaboration happening. I just want you to understand that this is more than CTE. This is more than just being able to see more siloed work. We want to be able to see a seamless way for each of us to be able to have our kiddos have as much time as possible in rigorous and relatable experiences. And I've talked to several of my DFL colleagues, and if you are at all interested in this, I'm still looking for a DFL author. And I know Representative Hussein is super excited about it, and so would love to join. Also, I've talked to Representative Frazier. So thank you so much. And at that point, Mr. Chair, I would again renew my motion to refer this to Education Finance.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended. Thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? House File 3650 as amended is on its way to Education Finance, and thank you very much for your time today.